Basketball fans, welcome into another episode of Raptors. Today you got Akil Augustine and my OGs, Unc Sherm, Unc Paul, but unfortunately a 1-point loss against the Chicago Bulls for your Toronto Raptors on a night that I will say, and you could see it just by Darko's reactions in both the start of the first and the start of the third quarters, a frustrating night for a young group of Raptors because I think coming into this game, you look at this Bulls squad, and I'm like, these guys have played so well against some of the best competition. This Bulls team is a team you can really jump on. Unfortunately, Jonesy, I'll start with you. What happened last night?
Some self-inflicted stuff at the wrong time. I laugh. It reminded me of the grade 9 class I never paid attention to, Greek mythology. You remember the? You
can't say that as a retired principal. You have to stress
I can.
the importance of every class.
I'm retired. Okay. I'm retired. We need to change a curriculum, but that's for another show.
Okay, let's get it.
Our boy Sisyphus, remember the guy
pushing the rock up the hill for it to roll back down.
And every time he looked like he was making some progress, he took a little break and it slid back down. The Raptors, I mean, they're down. Was it 18? As many as 18, 16? They cut it to 6. They get it to 5, and then all of a sudden they get it to 1. They just could never get over the hump. And some of the stuff. And the decisions they made in terms of shot selection, turnovers piled up at the end. Some of that was self-inflicted. But what I did like and what I always love is the fact that they are always willing. They never...
They played their best basketball all night in the fourth quarter.
They never threw the towel in. And we're going to talk about him later. I thought Jamal Shead was a huge part of that.
So we'll table Jamal Shead. Sherm, Jonesy gave us Sisyphus. Are you going to drop like Plato's allegory of the cave, or what we got?
Wow, you paid attention.
After high school, not during.
No, I failed a lot in high school, so I'm not that in-depth. I know what gym class was about.
Okay, shout out to VCU, though.
No, high school.
High school.
Slow your process.
Okay, wow, okay.
I'm just saying, don't VCU me, man.
Okay, let's talk about the game.
Well, I'll say this. It's always a bad thing when you're the coach calling all the timeouts early.
Yeah.
And Darko had to burn some timeouts to get his team's attention. And to me, that's a sign of a couple things. Youth on the roster, But the other thing is teams are able to rectify things on the court. Yeah. After a timeout's been called early, coach is on us. He's getting into us. He's telling us what we need to do. We know we're not playing at that level. Let's fix it. That didn't happen. He had to call another timeout. So that process is a tough process. And still, after all of that, it's only a 3-point game at halftime.
Yeah.
You mentioned the youth.
He had one timeout left with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
That's scary.
One timeout. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the youth. Some of the vets struggled last night. So we got to give a shout-out to okay, we're going to talk RJ Barrett, but you touched on Jamal Shead. And let's talk about this because Jamal Shead didn't play all night. So you're thinking fourth quarter, he's not going to see the floor. Plays great fourth quarter, right? But let me throw something out there.
Okay.
Yeah, the day before that game, Jamal Shead was in Maine playing for the 905 and then doesn't play the whole 3 quarters and his number is called. That's impressive no matter who you are.
He's a baller. He's a hooper.
He didn't have time to get his braids done.
You know what it reminded me of? When Fred and Pascal and Norm used to play in the 905.
The good old days.
And then get on the GO train or whatever it was.
It wasn't a GO train.
Well,
the black Lexus or some kind of SUV.
Yeah, I guess they got some money. But get to Scotiabank and play with the big team.
Cash out.
And like you just watch Shead. And again, this is what I love, and I've always talked about this. Give me a 4-year player. If everything is equal, this guy was in a good program. He understands his role. He understands everything about his own game and where it fits in the greater scheme of the team.
What did we say yesterday? He's seasoned. He's seasoned.
4-year player.
Yeah. You know what? Listen, I'm not taking anything away from Jamal Shead.
Yeah.
I just think sometimes when we think about professional athletes, we've got to understand that this is what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to understand the assignment. The assignment is he knows he's going to split time between the G League and the Raptors.
Okay.
And those days that he's going to have to play on the G League team and get back to the big team in the same day or the next day, whatever it's got to be done, it's a part of the business.
Yep.
I think he played great. I think he was professional. He did a great job answering the call when Darko called him. But we've got to stop, I feel, saying these are above and beyond things. This is a part of the job
But it's
title
also a
and the
new
job.
aspect to the
But I
league,
think it
'cause
shows-
wasn't
It's a
always-
new aspect. He knows it. He
Okay.
knows
All right.
there's going to be
I
those
will fall
situations.
back on that one.
No,
I still
but
thought it was impressive.
it shows his professionalism.
Well, I
too.
said that. I
Yeah,
already said his
yeah.
professionalism.
Yeah.
But the idea of it being something out of the ordinary,
Okay.
no. But he played great. Let's not take it away from him.
Yeah.
He did a great job. He performed. He produced. But it's like, to me, the idea of we give players props for playing hard.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the baseline.
Okay.
You're supposed to play hard.
I'm in agreement, even though dealing with, I'll talk about Gen Z on another day. So many things to talk about, but
That's a different
that's
conversation.
a different topic. Let's talk about RJ Barrett quickly because we got to give the kid his props. Home games, kid cooks. Also want to shout out my guy Justin Dahan, one of our graphics guys. You're going to see a pretty dope board title, Canadian Bacon, because that's what the kid's been doing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about it. Step back into that role. We saw him run the point, right? And I think he was a bit over-aggressive in the fourth quarter because I felt like Grady, there were some spots where he could have used some of his teammates. But Sherman, we'll start with you on this one. Impressions of RJ out there.
I'm always impressed with what RJ does. I mean, whether he doesn't have a good offensive game scoring the ball, he's going to rebound, he's going to assist.
He's going to drive the ball into your
He's going
chest.
to do things. And one thing RJ has made it clear is that he's going to constantly put pressure on opposing teams' paint.
Canadian Bacon.
Now, a great board title.
Justin.
You're right. Shout out to Justin. The volume of shots, you don't necessarily want with the field goal percentage. But one thing RJ is, he's a competitor.
Yeah.
He's going to compete. And I will take that any day, and I'll take 24 shots, 11 or 24, as long as you're going to stay in the fight. And he will stay in the fight regardless of who's on the floor.
Especially without Scotty. And then something I'll throw out there, too, is looking at the group that was on the floor at the end of the game. Yeah, Mobile's in there to be a small ball center. I understand that. But looking at that group, he's got to take a lot of shots.
It's about winning. And he looks around and realizes, okay, this is what I need to do for us to win.
Yeah.
And it's part of the evaluation process where he's looking at it, where he's handling the ball. There are times we laugh. Michael Jordan. There's no
Who?
When he taught that. The old. There's no I in team. Yeah, but there's an I in win.
There's an eye and I kicked your butt, too.
And sometimes guys look at that. The competitor looks at that and says, "You know what? I got this. And there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, the Raptors only have 7 wins. When you look at the rest of the East, if this team had 11, 12 wins, half their games have been
And some of
decided.
those wins are on the table. The losses could have been wins.
Half of the games have been decided by two possessions or less.
Yeah.
Half of the games, and they've got 3 wins. Flip that a little bit. I know we're getting into hypotheticals and ifs and buts, but RJ's name would be out there for All-Star.
Can I just say this quickly?
Yeah.
Listen, when you look at the Raptors in terms of a scout, who's at the top of the list to defend?
Scotty.
It's going to be RJ. No,
Oh,
who's
no,
on the floor?
Scotty's out.
Who's on the
Okay,
floor?
Who's
Yeah.
on the floor? It's
It's
going to
RJ.
be RJ. So he's got to be that guy, and he's got to stay aggressive and put pressure on the paint and try to score.
All right, guys, I got this. We're not going to commercial. We're going to Jamal Shead.
Mindset when you came in the fourth quarter? What was your trying to get done in those minutes?
Just bring energy. Today was kind of a weird night for us. Everybody kind of seemed a little fatigued and, on both sides. It was just like a dull night. And I thought, with him putting me in, I know what he wanted from me, and that was just to try to bring energy.
Seems like the team has never lacked energy with you on the floor. How specifically do you do it? Like, what do you do on the floor to bring energy that other guys somehow aren't doing?
I wouldn't say anything special. I think just talking, trying to uplift each other, and just trying to be a little spark. I wouldn't say it's anything that I do. I think it's just my positive vibes and just my demeanor. When we step on the court, it's just all about go.
How have you, when players sometimes go in the rotation, out of the rotation, it's their first time in a while doing that because, you guys are in the NBA for a reason. How have you adjusted to that, and how much does the G League help too in getting those runs?
I don't remember exactly what game it was, but seeing Garrett Temple come in, he got about 3 steals. It was a Pacers game the first time we played them here. Got like 3 steals, a bucket. It was on the floor diving for the ball. That showed you it doesn't matter whose night it is, who coach puts in. Everybody needs to stay ready. So after that game, I think I've really adapted that mindset and just tried to do my part, whether it was handing out 1,000 towels or trying to go get a loose ball. So seeing GT do that, it helped me.
I'm TJ Ford, and you're watching the Raptors YouTube channel. Check out our latest videos and subscribe to our YouTube page.
Works right into the lane, puts it up and in! TJ runs away, fades, fires,